So I've been doing this playthrough of Hades 2, which I hopefully have posted by the time you see this, but it's possible I haven't. Because like a lot of stuff on I'm bad at posting it on YouTube, okay? That's fine. It's okay. I've been doing this playthrough of Hades 2 on YouTube for YouTube. And I'm doing it because it has taken me a little while to get back into streaming. I'm also doing it because I wanted to see what it was like to just like make some YouTube content for a game that is popular ish, even though I probably missed its window already, but that's besides the point. And I have felt conflicted about continuing on Hades 2 uh, because one, like I'm liking playing the game, but it's not like super narratively gripping me right now. I'm waiting for it to maybe sort of like make its pivot or open up a thing and that'll make me more curious. Even though I think a lot of friends that I've talked to have said like, the narrative's not quite as gripping as the first one, but I digress. The second reason is because there's a little bit of me that feels like is doing a playthrough of Hades 2 for YouTube a bit of like, what do they say, fiddling while Rome is burning. I have felt a couple of things lately, and yeah, this is the first time that I've recorded an IG Daily in a while. But part of it is because it has been hard for me to figure out what to talk about or how to feel comfortable with what to talk about. I keep wanting to do something. Like I live in a city where some really terrible shit is happening. And also some really amazing solidarity and acts of resistance. And I want to do something, but I'm not sure what. And I also carry this this balance of like, should I get out? Like, should I be thinking about getting out? My therapist said that I should put together a go bag, and I should also put together a stay bag. That I should have a sense of these are the things that I'm going to have on hand and ready that'll help me feel comfortable if I stay, and these are the things that I will have on hand and ready if all of a sudden I say it's time to go. And though I don't totally understand quite what I would put in my stay bag yet, it felt like a really quality piece of advice. And that's why I'm saying it here, because maybe it'll be helpful to you too. But I recognize that it is a really complicated time. And what it means to make a video that you put on the internet has all kinds of implications and fears. And so I feel like I don't just feel like, I don't know, should I post at all? But like, if I'm gonna post, what should I say? Should I do? What does it make sense to talk about? What does it make sense to feel right now? I feel all kinds of things. And I feel unsure about how, if, when to say them. So thus far, I haven't. And the idea of playing Hades 2, doing a playthrough and talking about Hades 2, like, it's so much just gameplay, like the mechanics and whatever. And so I feel like, well, I should play Metaphor. I should play Disco Elysium. I should play Clair Obscur. I should be playing through one of those things because those give me opportunities to have the kinds of real world discussions that like Intelligame is known for, and also just kind of real world discussions that feel meaningful to me. And then I'm like, oh, but maybe I should be saving those. I should be holding them off until I can talk about them on stream because the conversations are more dynamic and that's where y'all can get more involved. And there's a lot of my former therapist said shoulding myself, forgive the pun. And then just a couple minutes ago, I came to this realization as I was contemplating this idea of fiddling while Rome is burning. And I decided I was going to record a video because I have been really obsessive, concerned, whatever, about this idea of what it means to use my power and my voice effectively. And at least right now, I feel like using it at all is important. The No Kings protests are coming up on the 18th. By the time this goes live, hopefully it'll be tomorrow. There are No Kings protests that are going to take place all over the country. And I've seen people have a range of discussions about the usefulness or lack thereof of these assumedly quote unquote safe large scale protests taking place during the day, where parents and children and signs and whether or not this is effective resistance, whether it's controlled opposition, whether the people who are talking against the No Kings protest are controlled opposite. The politics are so complicated. And I think that in the modern moment, it feels like there is such a cost. And oftentimes there can be a significant cost to making the wrong decision. So we spend a bunch of time and a bunch of energy now that we live in a world with the entire internet at our fingertips, on the other side of our hell glass, which is now what I call my phone. Now there is a sense of how do I know what to do? I should probably go look it up first. And then I look it up. And then I look up another thing. And then I look up something connected to that. And then I look up another thing that's connected to that. And then I look up a counterpoint to that. And in the meantime, I haven't done anything. And then when I hopefully go do a thing, I might not do a thing. I might get kind of scared off. I might get stuck in the decision paralysis. I don't do a thing. I also don't get to just find out, was that the thing I wanted to do? Obviously, the opportunity cost for something like going to I shouldn't say the opportunity cost, the risk of something like going to a protest can be incredibly significant, particularly in the modern moment. But also, what is the risk of doing nothing? It feels like there's no risk, or it might feel like there's no risk comparatively. But every action, even a lack of action, has a consequence and a risk. There's a consequence and a risk to not posting the Hades 2 videos. I've felt like I've wanted to connect to the community, to say something, to say anything, and I haven't. And though I spend a lot of time thinking about what the best act of resistance is, my existence is an act of resistance. Doing anything is an act of resistance. And I don't mean that in the, now this justifies that I did the bare minimum and now I can feel confident and what. It's to recognize the value and the impact of doing anything, particularly when you are in danger, you are experiencing fear, and you are still taking the time to try and work in good spirit and to move forward. I don't think it's fiddling while Rome is burning. I think it's taking a step, and then I can take another step, and another step, and another step. But I gotta start walking. I technically need to edit this and I was gonna say see you tomorrow because it's Friday, but technically I need to edit this so that it's ready for tomorrow. You might only get one essay. Maybe I'll come up with something else and it'll just be two of them. I'm not gonna change clothes. Welcome back, Intelligame Weekly. Okay, so I did come up with an extra content. And it's Friday, so I'm technically really slacking and need to finish this quickly and then edit and then post. Let's see. Let's see if that happens. So I have been thinking about ways that we resist, ways that we push back. They oftentimes require us to change. Change is hard, and dramatic change is not just difficult, it's also difficult to sustain. It makes it really easy to fall back on an old habit, which I know all too well as I try to change my sugar consumption habits. And occasionally I'm like, oh, this will just be a little cheat day, just a little, not a big deal. And then I'm downing so much cereal and random. It's bad. It's a bad habit, team, but that's besides the point. When I'm thinking about what it means for us to make shifts, it seems like it is more sustainable to do so gradually. And doing something gradually is frustrating because the result is not right in front of you when you start, right? If you are just like, oh, I'm going to do a little bit at a time. At least for me, when I first start, I feel like I'm doing nothing. And it's not until I've done it for like weeks or months that I'm able to look and say, oh, well, I guess I did something. I don't feel that sense of satisfaction until I can like lift a really heavy thing, lifting smaller things up until that point, especially if I'm like, oh, well, I could be lifting something kind of heavier though. It's just really easy for me to not find progress in that. But little changes, what are little changes that we can make? And I've been thinking about this in terms of games because a lot of the space where I spend my time, my energy, and money is in games. And if I expect to have more resources to be able to support my community, if I want to change the way that my mind works and looks at the time that I'm spending with games, what are the ways that I can do that without making some drastic overhaul, saying I'm never buying another game again, or other drastic things like that. And one of the things that I've come to is, well, are there other ways to find and play games? Now, I'm lucky that I have like a number of housemates and partners who are like board gamers, card gamers, and I really enjoy being able to crack open a new game. But at $40, $50, $60 sometimes, it's increasingly kind of difficult to swing. And again, I'm also thinking about what are the ways that I can be reallocating some of my dollars towards community support. I also would like to pay people for games if I'm going to pay money. And I know that that sounds weird, but as somebody who has wanted to play the new Gundam card game for a while, and it's a cool game, and I got decks for it, but the cards are super hard to find because there aren't that many out there. And a bunch of people are buying them not to play the game, but instead because they want to have this investment vehicle, right? That you can then sell at a markup for, people are buying these decks for $20 and then selling them for 45 or 50. So how are people supposed to play the game if they can't find the cards, right? It makes me very upset. As somebody who cares about games and the communities that play creates, to have a game turn into a speculative asset, it makes me very sad. And a shout out to all the people out there who wish that they could get Final Fantasy boosters for Magic the Gathering. Sorry, RIP. The point of the story is that there is a toxic cycle that exists in the collectibles games market. The folks who make Magic the Gathering make an expansion with Final Fantasy in it. They know it's going to be a hit. They don't even know how big a hit it's going to be. The packs just sell out. They are all over the place and then nowhere in a flash. And a number of that, a really significant portion of that stock is in the hand of speculators. People who are buying the stock, hoping to resell it either now or at a later date at an increasingly marked up price. What once was a box of collector boosters, which retailed at like 500, which is wild for a pack of shiny cardboard, right? But like what once sold for like $500, $600 now sells for $1,600 for people who are willing to make the purchase. But that means that there are a bunch of people out there who love the game, care about the game, might want to participate in the game, and now don't have access to it. And Magic, right, Wizards of the Coast as a company is not incentivized to make more of those cards, because if you make more of those cards, the rarity decreases, the value goes down, and people who were buying as speculators, who are pushing a lot of the market and the hype around these cards, they're going to get upset. And so you, as a business owner, are not incentivized to make it easy for people to play your game. It's a real weird space. But what if you didn't have to buy booster packs? What if you didn't have to like buy the cards at all? I am increasingly, and I've known about these kinds of games for a while, but like I am increasingly trying to find independently created games, and even for physical games, ones that I can just print out and play. There are two games that like really stick out to me lately. One of them I got at PAX West. It's called CTF. It is a game that plays with 18 cards. You and your opponent both have 9 cards. And there are apparently a number of card games designed like this because 9 playing card size cards actually fit pretty well on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So if you design a game to be played with 9 cards, 18 cards, something like that, a person can just print those out on their own home printer and play the game. And I, for a while, was like, oh, okay, well, if I print them, I just have these like flimsy pieces of paper. That's kind of frustrating. Well, what if you have cards for a card game that you're not using and some sleeves? Then you just take the card and the sleeve and you put the paper in front, and now you've got your card game, and it feels like a card game. The printing on our printer is not quite as good as I wish it was. It's not the same as getting like the high quality printer, right? But like you could get your documents and then run them off at a local print shop. Maybe that would be a higher quality. That is probably what I'm going to try. But CTF I picked up at PAX West, and this was a little box that the creator put together, and it had 2 little 9-card decks in it, Colonel Panics versus Crowbars. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. Kind of. A little bit. Anyway, the cool thing about how he was selling this game was that it was like he had made cards, right? So he made these cards and had them, and created 2 little decks to put in this box. And then he created 5-card booster packs. And the booster packs, he literally took a sheet of paper here. David Hollis is the name of the creator. Took a sheet of paper, put it inside a cheap little penny sleeve, and then put the 5 cards at random in this sleeve. At PAX West, he was selling these boosters for $5. And then the core game, I think, was either $20 or $25, and you would get the 2 9-card starter decks and 1 booster pack for free, plus a promo rare card because he did print foils. There are shiny cards in this game. But the reason that I bought it was because the way that he designed this game was not intended to be another alternative to Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! or whatever randomly collectible card games are popular. The game is designed with a 9-card deck, and at this point, all of the cards are available on the website for this game, CTF. You can go and create your own 9-card deck and print it out on your sheet of paper, utilizing any of the cards that he's come out with for the first expansion. So there is this little element of randomization and chase and fun that I got to experience when the game came out at PAX West. And there were a couple of months, I think, about a month and something between the event and the full release of the game where all the cards were available for people to make their decks. And the reason he did it that way was that he was like, well, this is an opportunity to like build some awareness around the game and have people hopefully like hop into this Discord and share what cards they've discovered. And you can scan the little QR codes in the corner so that you can like build the decks you want. And I was excited because when I gave him money for this game, I wasn't giving him money for a speculative asset. I was giving him money for the game. It felt like I was giving him money for the design that he put together. And that's what I really want to support. I have such a mental block, and maybe it's part of like growing up kind of like financially insecure, that there are all of these things that I enjoy or want to enjoy, but then I get stuck on this, but is it worth something? Is it going to be worth something someday? Should I sell it? Like, am I actually going to enjoy this more than I would enjoy selling it for what? And the capitalism gets in the way of the gameplay, which is so frustrating. The other day, I was on Blue Sky. Sorry, this is an extra long post, but that's okay. There's only like 2 posts for this one, so I feel okay about it. The other day, I was on Blue Sky, and a content creator there, Nile Joan, she was talking about a game that she was super excited about called Witch's Revel. And she was like, tons of people send me games all the time. And I usually don't spend a lot of time with them, but this one was really good. Now, I was excited just because I get excited about seeing other people excited about games. And I love card games, particularly one-on-one card games. And so I looked up Witch's Revel, and you could buy the starter kit for $25 on their website. But they also had a print and play version. So you could just print the cards off, which I did. You can just print the cards off on your little local printer, and you could play the game. And on the website, it was specifically like, hey, this is designed as a love letter to competitive card games. And however you can access this game, I want you to. So if you download the print and play it, awesome. It's pay what you want on itch.io. If you want to support the game, you can buy the printed off nice cards copy that I put together, and it's $25, and it gives you the cards and tokens and stuff to be able to play the game. And then if you want to get a second set of cards so that you have all the cards you need to be able to build custom decks, you can buy another set of cards for $17. I think it's $17. Maybe $20. I don't know. But either way, and then it was like, if you really want to support the game and you're like excited about it, I printed off, there are 17 cards that I made foil versions of, and you can get the little foil versions so that you can slide those into your deck. But none of it is randomized. It's all just the game. It's not me opening up booster packs hoping that I get the card that will make my deck work, but then also hoping that I get the card that will be worth money, that weird interplay of the capitalism in my game. Here is a way to support the developer while getting something yourself if you are interested in supporting the game that way and you have the financial ability. But if you literally have $0, you can access the whole flippin' game with a few sheets of printer paper. You don't even have to like print it off in color if you don't want to. It makes it easier to read, but not the point. The point of all of this discussion was supposed to be about how do we make small changes that give us the opportunity to make larger changes later. I, as somebody who loves games and spends a lot of time constantly filing through emails and posts and all this different stuff about new games that are coming out, my relationship to games is different because for a lot of the games that I play, I don't have to spend money to do so. The exchange that I make is in my time and attention and content. And they're of course hoping that like if you see me excited about a game that you'll go buy it. But then if it's a big AAA popular game and you go buy it on Steam and 30% of that purchase goes to Valve, did you know that whenever you buy a game on Steam, 30% of that purchase off the bat goes to Steam just for being Steam? They have new policies now so that if you sell like tons of copies, you eventually can get a larger and larger percentage of your sales, but like 30% of your stuff off the top just goes to Steam. It's wild. At the end of the day, when we look at the business model for games, it like not as much money as you think goes to the people who make them. And yes, that's the nature of how distribution processes and the internet and capitalism work and whatever. But where are the places that we have alternatives? Where are the places that we can meet our needs while also taking care of our society and community? Where can we be conscious about the ways that we are directing our energy, spending power? I could take $25 and go to my local game store, which I love and still want to support, right? I could take $25, go to my local game store and buy a game there that has been, that has been mass produced, that is, has all kinds of packaging and has been shipped and all of this different stuff. And again, this is not me saying that I never want to do those things. But I do recognize that there is a difference in impact. If I take that $25 and I just put it in the account of a person who designed a game that I love, that I have access to, that I just print at home. It's not 3D printing, it's 2D printing. And there are so many good games that like literally just there is a version of the Stardew Valley board game that somebody designed that is basically the Stardew Valley board game that plays with like 2 sheets of paper and a couple 6-sided dice. And I think it's actually better than the board game. I should find the link to that and put that in the description too. Yes, there is big work for us to do. Big work that is outside of the scope of games. There's also work that we can do inside the scope of games, changing the way that we look at ourselves as part of this ecosystem. We can make small changes and we can target our support and our energy and our hype towards each other instead of the large scale machines that we've seen let us down time and again. I honestly, this game, Witch's Revel, like if you're a 2-player card game person, like please check out the link for that. And I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just a dope game. And I think what was the coolest part about this was that as I was cutting, hanging out with my partner, cutting the cards and like putting them into these sleeves, it was kind of a monotonous process, but like I don't feel bad about it. I'm happy with it. And I bought a bunch of sleeves of different colors so that like if I print out other games, I can, customize the decks so you can see that like the red like hot fire character is in these red sleeves and the blue calm character is here in these blue sleeves. And it's really cool. There are a lot of ways that we can participate outside of the instinctive ways that these systems are funneling. A lot of these platforms, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or Steam or whatever, They're looking out for themselves. We have to look out for ourselves, and we have to look out for each other. What are some of the ways that we can do that? I'd love to know some of the ways that you're doing some interesting alternative things in the comments. Do you have fan fiction that you're that you're reading? Do you have print and play card games you enjoy? Are there independent creators that you look to? Where are places that you can change some of those large scale habits? This was a super long one, so I am gonna bounce. Hope to see you next week for another Intelligame Weekly. I feel like I should maybe make them daily so I don't I have this thing where I just hold all of the content and say, oh, if I post it at the end of the week. But maybe I need to just, I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to hold myself a little more gently, but I do want to come back. Until next time, please support the channel. Please support Intelligame. Patreon.com/Intelligame. I know dollars are hard to come by right now, and I have not been super consistent with my content. But if you believe in this kind of work and want to help me do it, patreon.com/Intelligame is an amazing way to do so. And I hopefully will be back to streaming soon. But in the meantime, keep your eyes up, keep your hearts open, and keep Intelligaming. Catch you next time. Also, hopefully I actually do post this today. If you happen to go participate in some First Amendment activity, please be safe. Should you happen to go participate in some First Amendment activity, yeah, please be safe, but also recognize that whatever ways you're doing the thing, it's important. Give yourself some recognition for that and find the way that you can continue the effort. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Catch you next time. I gotta get a bigger smile when I end things. I always feel like I'm just ending it okay, I guess I'm here.